Got a new hat. I've got the cord going this way because it's not windy today. I wonder how long it is. It's pretty long. So I have a new hat because those of you who've been watching my videos for a while know the story about my WeatherTech window coverings slipping out the back window. So I think a similar thing happened with my hat. It's very dangerous windows. Coming to you today from a beautiful national forest. Oh my gosh, this is the best campsite I've ever been in. It's on the edge of a clear cut, which that's not cool, but the view of the surrounding mountains, insert clip here, is breathtaking. So in my former Sticks and Bricks days, which, oh my gosh, my 2-year anniversary, vaniversary, just last weekend. Woohoo! I used to teach a class on how to figure out what to do in your retirement. Because believe it or not, there are some folks who either because they don't have kids or grandkids or their entire identity was wrapped up in their job, they're like, what do I do with myself now? And some of us don't have that problem at all. Some of us have that problem on occasion. And then there are nomads who have to figure that out on a different, not a different scale, just a different topography really, of how to fill your time and what you're gonna do, because everything is up for grabs. So there's 3 key aspects that somebody has to find satisfying substitutions for, and those are how to structure your time now, since full-time employment isn't eating up that much of your day. Social connections, because a lot of us, our friends are at work. And a sense of purpose. And if you figure out the first 2, the last one kind of takes care of itself. And it's also modulating, it's changing all the time. So using Sticks and Bricks criteria for measurement, how does one figure that stuff out as a nomad? There's lots of different kinds of structures as a nomad because you're dealing with the seasons and following temperature. So there's that kind of structure. There's also the element that everything takes longer when you're a nomad because you're pulling things out and using them and then putting them away. Lots of time can go into practicing to be a nomad, either in your vehicle in your driveway or going to a local campground or local national forest, whatever is available to you, to give you some idea if you're not already out on the road. Then there's the classic structures of, okay, this is what I do for my morning routine. And you get to make that up completely the way you want to as a nomad. When you get up, what you do, how you prepare your morning coffee, if that's something you do, or whatever it is, you get to do it when you want, where you want. For folks who are starting from scratch, kind of a conventional wisdom is to start with 1 hour in the category of running errands every day, some type of social connection, housework, and I forget what the other one is. So that might work for a certain type of nomads. Some nomads go off into the backwoods or even the national forest like this, and they don't want to go anywhere for 4 days, 7 days, 10 days, 14 days. So that measurement will be different out here. Ooh, the sun is bright. So for social connections, sort of the, not conventional wisdom, the belief is that it's harder to make friends at this age because we don't have the natural meeting places for new people, like taking classes, going to school, being in one place for a while to make it a regular thing to be with people. But that's not necessarily true as a nomad. I was fortunate enough to bump into the organization of Homes on Wheels Alliance, who sponsors virtual and in-person caravans where people can get to know each other, talk about what they've learned or what they need to know about the nomad life, and make lifelong friendships that way. Over and over again, I hear it in videos and in in-person conversations that the friendships that you make out here are almost kind of instant because there's no explaining what you're doing, what your life is like. You have so much in common, and you can go pretty deep right away with people who get you. I know some people don't like Facebook, but there are groups based on all kinds of themes. Whether you're in an SUV like me, or an RV, or of a certain age, or like to go to certain places, as long as you're willing to introduce yourself and possibly get out of your introvert shell, like I have to do at times. There are literally hundreds of thousands of us out here. So there are social connections to be made. And you'd be surprised how easy it is to meet other nomads because you see them now. You recognize, oh, they're a nomad. And maybe you pass them on the road when you're going into town and you wave, and when you come back, you might want to stop and talk if they're outside. If they're not, stand a nice 25-yard distance and call out. People are very friendly once they know that you are too. So again, lots of social connections to be made. So in terms of purpose, one element is what kind of nomad are you going to be? Are you going to be part-timer, full-timer, intermittent nomad? All of those categories are valid and true. But what the heck are you going to do all day long? And there are lots of quizzes and tests that say, you should qualify your values and find out what's important to you. But, being honest and kind and compassionate and whatever, those are pretty common values. That doesn't really help very much. So I came up with an exercise in my class that I called Specs for Satisfaction. And I don't know what I would call it now, but it's a way to mine your past for experiences that made you feel powerful, comfortable in your skin, whatever the term is that makes you feel alive, and then apply those qualities and those experiences to the things that you choose to do now and in the future. So I'd have everybody find some paper and block off their lives by decades, starting 0 to 10, 11 to 20, etc., and try to think of at least one instance, each of those decades, with an experience that you could describe to a certain amount of depth. So you're getting adjectives that tell you, in order for me to be satisfied or powerful or comfortable in my skin or whatever it is, in future activities that I might experiment with in my retirement, I need to find these elements, and then I'll know that it's for me. For example, my experience from 0 to 10 was when I was 7 and I was mad at my parents about something they wouldn't let me do or get or whatever. And I decided I was going to run away from home. So like you do, you get on your bike and just start riding. And in the town that I was in, I was pretty familiar with how to get from my house to downtown where my dad worked. So I took off, got there, by that time, of course, I wasn't mad anymore, so I thought I'd just ride home, turned around, and within moments, I was lost. I had no idea where I was. And feeling a little desperate, saying to the powers that be, please, please, please help me get home. Please, please, please. That kind of thing. And for whatever reason, I just kind of kept pedaling and meandering. And all of a sudden, I recognized an intersection. And oh my God, I've never felt such immense relief. And very quickly behind that, wow, did I feel powerful. I had gotten myself back on track without anybody else's help at 7 years old. So that's one of the experiences I had as a youngster that I can trace back to my propensity to want to be a nomad, to just kind of take off and see what happens. Yeah. So if you can find at least one story from each decade of your life and start looking for the adjectives in the, 2 or 3 sentences that you describe that experience. Like I was saying, that made me, oh my gosh, I was so scared, but oh my gosh, I was so empowered. Those kinds of words, whatever it is that resonates with you, that's what you're looking for. I could go on with more stories, but hopefully you get the point that taking the time to remember these things in your life, and often in my class, once I told that story, that got people remembering, oh my gosh, I forgot about horseback riding. I loved that. And, if you did the class kind of inventory of what are the things that you like to do when you're younger, that's not enough. You need to get to that word that means something to you of empowered, comfortable in your skin, excited, whatever it is. So when I first did this exercise myself, probably 30 years ago, for a very different setting, I came up with these terms that have stayed pretty consistent over time. And when I notice that I'm not feeling my typical happy-go-lucky self, I pull that list out. And eventually I'll find, oh, I'm not doing that enough. I need to do more of that. And now as a nomad, in the 2 years that I've been doing it, I've noticed there's a few situational things that have changed for me. Before I did this, I hardly ever went camping. I was very rarely outside, which is so weird. But I can't be somewhere for longer than 2 or 3 weeks before I start to feel isolated and contracting, and then I know, oh my God, I have to go. I gotta go somewhere and be outside. You could call that itchy feet, whatever the nomad phrasing might be, but that's one thing I've noticed. And also the concept of novelty and how our brains are wired, that's what they're wired for. They're not wired for doing the same thing day after day after day. And I love being in new places, discovering new, even if it's just a different grocery store or a different Walmart, just being someplace new, it's just so satisfying. And I'm the kind of traveler that doesn't run off of bucket lists. I enjoy seeing how the locals do things and just kind of soaking up the local culture and character. That makes me really happy. So if you take the time to do this exercise and look for those adjectives and kind of whittle it down to a manageable list, you'll notice that there's lots of repetition, and that's great. Some of them might be similar to the words on my list. Some people can whittle it down to one. that they use as their touchstone or their talisman or their totem word that helps them keep their direction in their life. So in terms of purpose, once you've extricated yourself from the concept of economy that we've all kind of silently agreed to in this culture, and you're not on somebody else's schedule anymore, and you discover that freedom that comes in your own structure and the healing elements of being out in Mama Nature, you may find that your definition of purpose becomes very different. So becoming a nomad can be one of the most fulfilling experiences of your life if it works out for you. It's not for everybody, and it doesn't need to be. But if it's for you, you'll know it. So what else has been going on? I got this new hat. I got a solar oven, and I've done one dish in it so far and was ecstatic about the results. So I'm really looking forward to experimenting more, and I will share those results with you once they're available. My Kia Sorento with the GDI engine continues to perform most excellently. The oil level is staying up where it should be. Where I'm driving these days is kind of mountainous and doesn't really allow for the top levels of miles per gallon to go up there, but still performing well. I've been spending some time in Arizona in the Prescott and Flagstaff area, or Flag, and I will close out this video with some footage of things that you can do here for not very much, or free 99 as we like to say.
My horse faster, but this rough ride can't be rushed.
Now there's a rock up on the ridge that looks out on the land, and